Does this podcast need to stay like PG rated?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. Not
I've
at all.
sworn on it several times, right?
Yeah.
Or you're talking about explicit sexual details
No.
from your hunting adventures.
I got a crazy story for you. You're not going to believe this one lady I was guiding.
And we're going to start the podcast right before he said that. So.
Yeah.
No, just kick it off. I want to give props to you, by the way. Our intro and our outro.
It's going to get better.
It's going to get better, but it's really good. Like,
It's really good.
if anyone doesn't know,
It is.
Oh, thanks, man.
this is Survival of the Fittest podcast. It's just Casey and I. So anything you see, like we didn't pay somebody to do it on Fiverr or anything like that. Like it was done. Everything was done by us two. I think that's pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
We could see that nobody follows this at all, but I feel proud that we've put a podcast out there, and it seems and it looks like things that have taken years to develop, and like we're starting off there. I feel pretty good about that.
Nice.
And you have a lot to do with that, so I want to give you props.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. So yeah, that and I guess the influx of everyone trying to headhunt you off of this and go work for their own podcast is probably going to inflow. So I'd expect that.
Open to offers.
Yeah.
I'm making 0 here. So anything.
See where it goes.
But I guess we'll just go around the room. You want to start? Say your name.
Intro? Yeah. Casey E. Leaving a little vague there. I, Northern Utah native. Cole and I are buddies from college. We met playing college basketball.
Yep. And then I'm Cole Hally. Live here in Eagle Mountain.
Kaden Wilding, Eagle Mountain, Utah born and raised.
That's right. And Caden's our guest today. Caden's, you're our first official guest on the podcast.
I feel very honored.
So it's either going to go up or down from here based on here for one.
Only go up.
One, Caden.
Only
It
go
can
up.
only go up. I guess a brief bio about Kaden. So Caden and I, we live in the same development, same neighborhood. And I kind of heard whisperings of this dude that was just,
Badass.
yeah, a badass hunter.
Say the least.
And I don't know, we never really crossed paths. And then for whatever reason, we had a game night, and now we're starting to hang out more. And then we just spent the morning on the mountain together. That was
First
pretty
time
cool.
together.
And so I just think that there's a lot of people that are pretty hardcore with hunting, and Caden is, but he also doesn't sacrifice other things in his life, other values. So I think he's got it figured out, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, I think other things. So one thing that's very intriguing, he works as a guide. We'll talk about that. He has some really cool hunting experiences. And most recently, which we'll kind of kick this off with, is upland game. Do you want to talk about what we did this morning?
Oh yeah, we went chucker hunting for the first time, I guess, as a pack, the three of us.
3-man wolf pack.
And it was a lot of fun. Got into some birds, watched the dog run around. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, see, I don't know with upland game, like I've just thought about grouse or like pheasant, but I guess there's some sort of level of difficulty. And then you add on, like Casey and I, we're just hiking around a mountain, and maybe if something jumps out, we'll shoot it, right? But you've got this dog with you, and there's like, you're trying to pay attention to that, and these tracks, and the wind, and the sounds, and like, I think seems like there's a whole lot more variables, and it's not like a big bull elk, pulls out on the side of the mountain and you can see it plain as day with no optics. Like, I don't know. I'd never been chucker hunting. Even once they had flushed, it was like hard to see them.
Yeah.
Super hard
It's
to
just
see.
like that. Just snap of your finger, they flush and they're gone. You got to be ready. Got to be on the gun. You got to be watching the dog at what it's doing, just to give you hints on what's up ahead of you.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. And we also, spoiler alert, Kaden shot a ram when you were young.
Not today.
Not today.
I wish.
But when you were young, it's actually just staring at us right over there. But we were kind of talking about, I asked the question of, in the hunting scene, it seems like, deer is very common. You've got elk. A lot of people, especially in the eastern United States, won't hunt elk. So that's kind of a big deal. But really the pinnacle of hunting, generally speaking, is like something with curly horns. The ram is a big deal. Doll sheep, whether it's bighorn, desert, stone sheep, like that, the opportunity to have a tag in your pocket in your lifetime does not happen for a lot of hunters. And so that's sort of like the pinnacle for big game hunting. But from what I've been reading or watching in upland, it seems like chucker's kind of up there.
Yeah, chucker I'd say is definitely up there. Chucker, sage grouse, sharp-tailed grouse. At least here in Utah, a lot of the guys, they covet chuckers. That's like the bird to figure out. They're super hard to hunt, super challenging environment, as you guys know. We hiked to the top of a mountain all day today and along the ridge line and down and up and through the rocks, and they're really hard to get good at, to find, and to be successful.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that experience?
No, the terrain was cool. It was, I'd never done any upland game hunting, and so just seeing how you would work a dog and seeing how acutely aware of what the dog's doing and how you really have to be paying attention. Hunting birds, I'm like, there's not a deer or an elk around. I don't even know what to expect. I'm just kind of walking around with the camera and seeing a couple of opportunities that we missed just by being not 100% focused. Even 95% focused, you're gonna miss your chance.
Yeah.
And so I have a newfound appreciation for the difficulty and the level of attention that you have to pay to be able to capitalize.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that the game changer with upland hunting is a good dog. And if you have a good dog that knows what it's doing, you've done all the training, you've done all the stepping stones with it, you're going to be successful, because that's what it takes, is an animal that knows how to use its instincts to benefit the hunt. And you saw today, my dog's not perfect, but you can kind of read off her. But I have a lot of buddies that I hunt with as I've entered the upland world, where it's crazy. Like I was just telling you guys earlier, I have a buddy who has a dog that has ranges between 0 to 1,000 yards, and we'll find a covey of birds and we'll sit on it for 40 minutes while we hike up to them. And it's all the difference on being successful.
I think we definitely should get into your dog and then also more about today. I think also it hit me because I'm just thinking about, some people that have interest in the podcast, they may not know the words that we just said, like upland game. What is upland game compared to, I feel like people kind of know what big game is, big bodied animals, but what is upland game? What does that consist of? Where do you do it?
Typically it's in the mountains or in the plains, just like a lot of, I guess, most animals, but it's like sharp-tailed grouse, sage grouse, rough grouse, chucker, pheasant. You'll hear the term Huns. Those are Hungarian partridge. Those are another sought-after bird that are a lot like chucker, but smaller, different color. And those are the ones that come to mind anyways.
I have a question. A lot of us that hunt big game exclusively, I speak for myself, I run into somebody who doesn't hunt, and my justification is, oh, well, it's a great way to source meat for my family, even though that's like a relatively small reason. Like the experience is a bigger reason for me. Like I could probably get a cow and raise it myself and hug it and feel as good about that as getting an elk with my own hands. I don't know what percentage of hunters consume the birds that they kill. Is that a common practice?
Definitely, yeah.
And like, is there a particular type of bird that you guys are after? Like, oh, these ones in particular make great turkey dinner replacements,
Yeah, definitely. I do a lot of waterfowl hunting too. So I've had like swan and lots of ducks and geese. And
You ever
for
had crane?
I
Sandhill
haven't had
crane?
crane.
I
I've
heard that's
heard
freaking good.
ribeye of the sky, I think is
Yeah.
the nickname.
Yeah.
Good.
Never had it, always wanted to, but I've had well, I prefer upland game. It tastes a lot better than all
Really?
the marsh birds.
Why is that? Because it tastes more safe, like a chicken, or what?
I just think it's just what they eat. Yeah, I would compare it to like a chicken or like a pen raised bird. I think the mountain birds eat a lot, I guess, better tasting.
How do you tend to prepare them?
Depends on how much time I have. And
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times I'm just the type of guy that will literally just put it over, the stove with salt and pepper and just eat it like that, or cook it like a Cornish game hen, or
Yeah.
there's a ton of ways to do it, but
Like pop it in the oven?
yeah.
Is that what you do with it?
Yep.
Cornish game hen?
Pop it in the oven. But I mean, I don't have any secret recipes. It's just good meat. With ducks and swan, that's when you have to like, all right, I'm gonna marinate it for, a week, and I'm gonna cook it.
It's like eating an antelope.
Yeah, it's like I gotta make it taste good. At least for me, that's how I
No,
feel.
that makes sense.
I know a meat eater has a good goose pastrami recipe though that I've wanted to try, and I've heard people use that for their waterfowl
Yeah, I've
animals.
heard that too. They cure
And
it.
then it's really good, but
Yeah.
never tried it.
Haven't tried that either. Yeah, I think that speaking of meat eater, I think they've had a big impact, but it's like complicated with eating the meat. They've made it kind of complicated. Like you have to get super fancy, which I found I do like to get a little fancy. We had you guys over. I did some elk shank. Got a little wine in there and a bunch of veggies, and it was braising for hours. Like that's fancy. But my favorite thing is just it's not even the backstrap. Like I'll cut a part of a roast, I guess you could call it, into the shape of a backstrap, and then I will just salt and pepper it and put it on the griddle. I think I've talked about this in the past on the podcast, and then I let it rest and have it be rare and cut it up, and that is the best. And it's so quick. I can be in and out in like 20 minutes and be done. Like I think more people should just be simple with the game they eat, and maybe they'll eat it more because I don't know. I just don't think you have to get too fancy with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think a lot of the hunting community thinks too much about preparation with the game meat. I mean, just find a recipe you like, do it, eat it. You don't need to get fancy, buy all these cookbooks and do this and that. I mean, more often than not, and I don't know if I'm embarrassed to say it, but I just eat it with salt and pepper and cook it on the stove and eat it.
Yeah.
And it's good.
But it's good enough that you can do that,
Yeah.
which says something.
And not all people would prefer that, but that's what I do most of the time.
Yeah,
Or just a good steak rub and cook it. I don't know.
for sure.
It's good to me. Either way.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Cole is definitely he's organized and intentional and a planner, and doesn't fly by the seat of his pants like some of us. But but yeah, he's made some dishes that are just like, did they pay you to do this for the that Meat Eater podcast cook series within the fancy kitchen and the lady that always does everything nicely?
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. There's a gray area that you should probably land in, because there's our dads and parents who just like would roast the crap out of a nice elk roast and just leave it in there for hours and hours, too hot, and it just comes out as chalk.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. I don't mean you. I mean other dads. But and then there's the garnish and the the sprinkling of this and that and the crystals
the herbs
and the sage prayers.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need to be either one of those.
No.
I think you find a middle ground.
Well, and I think that's where a lot of people just grind it in a burger.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with waterfowl, a lot of people are making like chorizo and sausages out of that. But I don't know. We cooked up a deer tongue at your house. That was pretty simple. It was just boiled and then it was seared, and that was like.
That sounds
It
good.
Have you
was.
ever had
It was
deer tongue?
good.
No.
It was.
But
It was.
I know a lot of people are crazy about it. I've never.
Yeah,
I
it was
always
like a
leave the tongue
juicy.
behind.
It was like greasy.
Like you ever had Spam?
Yeah, yeah.
Fried
it tastes a ton
spam.
like spam.
It tastes like fried spam.
spam.
Yeah.
But you carve off the
Yeah.
texture like of the tongue though, right?
Yeah.
Just
Right.
the
That's
meat.
why you boil it, and then you can take that off, and then the inner muscle, because it's a muscle, and it's pretty fatty. We just section those off and then put it in the frying pan in little discs, like for no time at all. It's already cooked.
Seconds.
But dude, man, that was so tender.
I still need to try that.
But that's pretty simple.
Yeah,
Doesn't seem like it.
that one. Yeah, we didn't get much meat because it's a deer's tongue.
No,
But
not huge.
you get a bison tongue. It's a different story.
Yeah.
Hard to come across those, though. I get it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about kind of this morning. Should we talk about your dog and what you've put into it, or should we talk about kind of what happened this morning? What do y'all think?
Let's talk about. Well, this morning was. Let's talk about this morning briefly.
Okay, very briefly, get out the truck. We go up the mountain. I hike this place to, try and get in shape, in somewhat of shape, take my kids up there and stuff. And I've seen these birds in the past, and I'm like, I have no idea what they are. They fly off too fast. Maybe they're grouse, maybe they're quail. I have no idea. But as I've been talking with Kaden, he's like, yeah, that's chukar for sure. And so we go up to the spot kind of where I've seen them typically, and we didn't jump any, which I thought we might, because that's usually where it happens. But, we see a couple does go up, but then we start to hear the chuckle of a chukar. And that was
Very
cool.
distinct sound.
Yeah.
Can't forget it. Nothing else sounds like it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we could recreate it, but it sounds like what you would call it, a chuckle from a bird. So anyway, we hear a few of those, and keep in mind, we're looking at a huge landscape of a mountain, just a big face. And it's like these birds are mainly gray.
Yep.
So it's not like you can see them. You tried with your binoculars, but you couldn't see them.
Very hard to see. You just hear them and see sign and hope you have a good dog.
Yeah. And so then we kind of went around the ridge line to pinpoint these birds. And then we got a little bit closer. I'm going to let you tell this, the first opportunity we had.
Yeah.
Where your dog started getting birdie.
Yeah, birdie.
Yeah.
So our first
that
opportunity, we were up on top of the ridge line, and we had hiked over to where we heard these birds. And we get there, and I don't know if everyone can see it, but you guys said you saw it. Once you get on fresh sign, the dog starts acting different. I don't care what dog you're with, but they're going to start acting different. For my dog, her tail starts going really fast, and her nose rarely leaves the ground. And she just
gets a little low.
Sniff, gets low, and just acts like it's almost like a little skittish, but it's just, I call it, she gets birdie is my terminology for it. And so we knew that they were close, and not seconds after she was getting birdie, we were seeing fresh sign through the snow. And before we know it, they jumped up there in front of us, and there was probably a covey of 10 to 15 birds jumped out. They flushed a little far. I'd probably say, how far do you think they were from us? Maybe
You're saying us, but it was you.
I was the closest
You were the
one.
closest.
I was the closest one.
I didn't even see them.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear them flush off, and you're like, all I hear was 2 shotgun shots, and I'm like, did I miss an opportunity? What's going on?
Yeah, so I was watching my dog. She was probably 50 yards away from them when they blew. And I shot 2 shots. They were probably 80 yards from me, maybe. And
Pretty
it was
far
brief.
shot.
Like, I'm talking, they jump up and they go right straight down the mountain on the other side from where we were. So we had about a 2-second window, if that, to shoot one. And we didn't get any, or I didn't get any. I missed both shots.
So the finger of the ridge is like this. You're up here, and they just went straight over. There was barely any time.
Up and down.
In a covey, just for the folks that don't know, and I didn't know this until 2 weeks ago. You told me. A covey is a group, or like a herd of chukar. Do you use that for all upland game?
Yeah.
Covey?
Upland, yep.
Okay.
Covey of birds, group of birds, more than one bird in an area.
Cool. So we missed that opportunity, and then it's like you're on this huge scape, and there's these little birds, and we're all kind of like where do we go? Do we chase these birds?
What just
do we
happened?
not? And yeah, I don't know. You want to sum up the rest of the time?
Yeah, to sum it up, we ended up chasing the birds. We got on what I think is the same covey again, and we got even closer that time, but wind was bad coming at our backs, going in front of us. So
And no one was ready with their guns.
no one was
this
ready.
time.
Dog didn't know. There wasn't like it was fresh tracks in the snow. Like
Yeah.
these birds had just landed there that we just spooked, and we were thinking they were further down. And yeah, sure enough, they got up again and flew, and none
They
of
were
us were
closer
ready.
this time.
I pulled off one shot and missed, and they're gone again.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. It's literally lightning fast. You got to be ready, expecting it.
Yeah, and you mentioned something that I found interesting. It's the opposite of normal game hunting, where you need the wind to be, you need
Going
it to,
away from you or not blowing towards the animal.
wait.
No, I think it's the same.
Yeah, it clicked as I was saying.
No,
it.
it's hard
the
to
same.
know.
No, I thought I was thinking it was reversed, but no, it's the same. You just need, because typically you're worried about the scent just not going toward the animal, but in this instance, you actually need the scent to be
Yeah.
coming toward you.
You need
I was
the
for some reason thinking the scent would be going a different direction, but no, it's the same wind movement. But the importance isn't necessarily about the bird smelling you; it's about your dog being able to pick up the scent
Exactly.
coming toward you.
Yeah. It's not about the birds smelling us. It's all for the dog. So then the dog knows where the birds are and can get us close to them.
And at no point today we had good wind
Yeah.
for the dog.
It was rough wind,
Yeah.
rough dog work. I mean, my dog's not perfect, still has a lot of long ways to go, but yeah, it was pretty rough conditions.
But it's snowing outside right now, so I think the wind was kind of just, bringing in a storm. Wasn't probably the best variable. But we had some shots. I think if we went back up in the same scenario, we would have some chuckers to bring home.
Hmm.
I think.
We definitely could have killed some today.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, I don't know who said it, but you can't even be 95% ready. Like, I remember the second time where I wasn't ready, and I feel like the covey was closer. I was talking to Casey about something stupid. And like, we're talking the whole time, having a good time, but, which is kind of nice because big game, you got to be like pretty quiet, but this is maybe a little bit
more
different.
laid back.
But you can't be doing that because you're just going to miss the opportunity,
Then you might as well be talking on the track at the local high school, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're there to just chit chat the whole time, then maybe you should be shed hunting. But yeah, I think you're right. Especially if your dog is starting to act different at all, or if there's any suggestion that this little opening over the ridge is where the birds could be at, like it's time to
Yeah.
get it together and hold the conversation about your existential crisis.
Yeah. I think after that point, we started to see more tracks too, which we saw many.
We got more focus.
Is that a big deal?
That's a big deal.
I see. I don't understand because it's my first time going, but it was kind of
It's
a big
really
deal.
big deal, especially the amount that we saw today. And we timed it perfect, and there was a fresh dusting of snow on the ground, so we knew that those bird tracks are from this morning within hours of us being there.
Yeah.
That showed that there were a lot of birds in the area, and we could hear them. So we knew,
Yeah.
but it's a different thing hearing them and actually being able to see, holy cow, there's a lot of birds in here.
So after that and kind of the screw up before, then in my head, I was like, all right, like I got to be all the way ready, which it sucks to admit that I wasn't, but I don't know. You live and you learn. But then there was one in the tree, like hanging out in the tree, like 20 yards from us.
Just chilling in the tree as we
Just
were
one.
walking up, not making a sound. It held for us, and next thing we know, it blows out. It's gone.
Gone. And then we were trying to figure out, should we go after those? Maybe I'm getting the sequence wrong, but then we kind of went down this ridge and then went back up this face because we were hearing a ton of birds over there. It sounded like
A ton.
and we couldn't pinpoint whether it was down low or up high, but we figured go high. And why would you go high?
Just so you can, I prefer to hunt down towards them rather than up. It's a lot easier to shoot that way, and if they spook, they're more likely to go down if you're coming from on top of them rather than spook them up and over the mountain that you're hiking.
Then you're going to have no chance.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened on that side of that mountain because we were hearing a ton, but nothing.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, we didn't. There was one or two that you saw. I was closer to them, but they were in between me and a juniper, so I had no idea where they were. But then a little bit past that, there was one that flushed, and that was a pretty close shot, and I got 2 shots on it, and it didn't happen. But I told Casey if you were in my position, it probably would have been a dead bird.
No,
But
they're so hard. I've had way too many chances of these stupid birds, and that's why I keep going back, because after so many misses, you're like, I'm going to get one this time. I'm going to get one this time. I'm going to go again.
yeah,
And welcome to the addiction. And then it's even more when you do get one. You're like, let's keep going. We're killing them now. Like,
yeah.
we got food on the table. We got birds to train with. We're ready to go.
Yeah. What did you think? Was this your first time doing that too?
Yeah. Yeah, I've only been duck hunting like twice and have never hunted any other type of bird except for with a rock.
With a rock.
We've been hunting them like cavemen, you know?
Yeah, that was fun. We saw a lot of grouse scouting for elk.
But yeah, no, I would certainly be interested in going again. I actually have a brother-in-law who is way into it, and he's invited me several times, but I've never had a ton of open time or enough interest to make open time to go. But now it's like, oh, yeah, he lives right next door to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going.
Yeah.
Next time I get the chance, I'm going with him because, and I was cameraman today, so I didn't get to pull the trigger, but I like to shoot quick.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite parts of muzzleloader hunting is sneaking through the trees and being ready to just pull the trigger on a buck that you jump in a grove of trees. Like that's the most exciting version of hunting for me. So this is pretty close to that.
So is that what you say would draw you in? Is that
Yeah.
excitement of the quick draw?
Yeah, I really like to see dogs operate. That's a cool thing. The dogs are really impressive. I love being outside, obviously, but I also like the excitement of the 2-second opportunity that you get, or this 1 second opportunity. It's probably less than 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's probably 1 second.
Yeah.
All the hiking and everything just comes right up to that
Yep.
few seconds of opportunity. You don't know when they're going to flush, and then it happens. There's your chance. Shoot away. See if you can hit one. Good luck.
Yeah.
So talking about kind of, I don't know, not for me. It's not like I did a whole lot to prepare, maybe physically, so I'm able to actually climb the mountain. But let's go into your dog, Dixie, and what you've kind of done, which I think this is probably one of the most interesting parts of this podcast. Like we've had you over and I've been like, wait, you do what? Or why are you doing that? You want to explain who Dixie is, maybe the breed she is, and then kind of what you've done to get her up to hunting potential?
So Dixie is, she's a 1.5 years old, English setter, bird dog. She obviously loves to hunt, but almost even more so, she loves to train, and I love to train. And like you're saying, there's a lot of really weird things in the upland world guys will do to get their dogs ready for these birds that we hunt. And
can I just say, when we got out of the truck, it was a little cold. She was shaking like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this dog cold?
Yeah, she's definitely not cold.
She was excited.
Yeah.
She was pumped.
Just absolutely whole body shaking, and she just knows, even from this morning, just getting ready, like she knows when I pull out the GPS collar and it beeps, or when I pull out her hunting vest, she knows what we're going to go do. And
That's cool.
from that moment on, it's just chaos. She's got the shakes. She's just pumped, ready to go. Can't wait to get out of the truck, and has to go get her zoomies out before we actually start hunting, because she's so excited to go. But
Anyway, the preparation, I kind of sidetracked us, but
yeah, the preparation to it, there's a lot, but the main thing is you need some form of birds, because the best way to train a bird dog is with live birds. And so actually just a few days ago, I have invested in time and money to get homing pigeons and build a pigeon loft and What we do with these homing pigeons is we take them out to a field on public land or up on the mountainside, and we plant these birds in what's called a pigeon launcher or a bird launcher. And
Which kind of encapsulates them.
yep, it's basically just
hugs them.
a metal box that at the press of a button will launch the bird in the air. So it's like a spring-loaded metal box that you put the pigeon in. It's harmless, it doesn't hurt the pigeon.
Yeah.
And at the press of a button, I can launch the pigeon into the sky and it will fly back. Because it's a homing pigeon, it'll fly back to its home, to the loft, and I can reuse it. And so that's what we use them for. Is I'll go plant these birds out in a field, and I'll work my dog into the wind, and she'll find them, point them, and
The wind is going to blow the scent of the bird to the dog.
yep.
They find them and they point them. What does that mean?
So the dog will completely freeze. The dog is supposed to freeze once it catches scent of the bird. So in order to not scare or flush the bird, once the dog smells it, it's supposed to stop and point the bird. And at any moment, if she takes a single step, I am pressing that launcher and launching the bird to show her that because you took a step after you froze, you scared the bird and now you don't get the reward. And she's supposed to stop. And if everything goes right, she stops and the bird is not launched. She's listens to me, which there's something called getting whoa broke with a dog. And when you say the word whoa, your dog is supposed to stop and freeze. So whether if I see a bird or whether she finds the bird and points and starts to move, I'll go, whoa. And she's supposed to go, oh, I cannot move. And at that point, I will walk in front of the dog while she is remaining still, and I will be the one to flush the bird and shoot the bird. And the gunshot is, technically speaking, the dog's reward, knowing that she did something good, and now there's a dead bird that she can bring to me and go find and put her face in, and it's everything she's been chasing. It's now there. And so that's the reward for them. And
that's her meaning of life.
That's why she's here.
She loves it.
Loves it.
So everyone investing in cryptocurrency, all those losers, they should really be investing in pigeons. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the dog acts more so as informational. This is where the birds are.
Yep. The dog is supposed to catch scent of the bird, point in the direction of the bird, and you kind of just walk that line or in that area until something spooks up. And the really good dogs, even after the bird spooks up, like my dog right now, if a single bird jumps up, she's going in after them. She's breaking point and charging in, and they're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to stay frozen until released. And that's what I'm going to be working on this spring with my homing pigeons, is to help steady my dog up and make it so even if one bird in the covey flushes, she's not going to run in and blow the rest of them for all of us. She'll remain still so that the other birds can stay tight. And
because that's what you're saying. There's not usually just going to be one.
Yeah, there's rarely one.
Even if it sounds like there was just one, you're saying that's kind of the lead cow for elk hunters, like the one that's kind of like alerting the rest of the covey.
There could be one alert bird that will fly and the others will stay there. That happens a lot of the times, or even a few will get up and fly, but there's some that decided to stay. You want your dog to just stay out of there and remain on point until we go in and we flush the birds that are there and shoot them before she's released, because sometimes we're too far away, and if she breaks point when we're not ready or we're too far away, then there goes our whole opportunity is gone. So it's a process to train the dog to, you find the bird and you point and you stay there until I tell you you're done. It's a hard process to train.
I bet.
I can't even imagine there's a living thing that does that. It's so patient.
But they definitely do it.
With how excited she was, and then she can just be so patient.
And that's the thing for her, at least with English setters, most of them, a good majority of them, get most of that excitement in that point. So for Dixie, for my dog, the whole fun part of hunting is finding the bird and just being on point on the bird. that's what she
You mean
gets out of
naturally?
it. Yeah,
Like,
naturally.
they just
So
love it.
after the bird gets up and I shoot it, sometimes she doesn't even want to retrieve it. Like she's like, all right, on to the next ones, and we'll just want to go point more birds. She's not about she doesn't have like that like fur drive. You'll see a lot of the bearded dogs like Drothars and pointing griffins. A lot of those dogs, what they get out of it is going and mouthing the bird and retrieving it. A lot of them, but she, like a lot of other pointing dogs, her dopamine is from pointing the birds.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
I
Come
mean,
up.
probably have a lot. Nothing in particular yet.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world. There's so much to
is.
learn, and I'm brand new at it. I'm just telling you what I've learned. I still don't know anything even close.
I think we had a good time. It's hard what people define as success in hunting. So many people see it different ways. And I have a lot of respect for the people that just say, I like being out in the mountains. It's a solace for me. Like, that's really cool. But for me, it's just like, no, killers kill. Like, we need to get out there and put some things on the ground. And people might hear that and say, oh, you're a horrible human. But it's like,
You're okay with that?
but yeah, like we're hunting to hunt. Like we're going out there for the challenge of it and bringing the meat home. Yeah, look, a chucker's not like a ton of meat, but I don't know. There's so many factors, that go into it.
It's good, healthy, non-processed meat, and
That's
it's
what I'm
fun to
talking
go.
about. We like that.
You can look at that food on your plate and you can go, I went through all these experiences. You can tell your kids, your family, this is like I provided this meal. This is not store-bought. This is fresh off the mountain.
Dude, wait till you have kids. It is. You want to speak to that? It is insane when you bring meat home that you hauled off the mountain on your back, and then they're just grubbing down on it.
Yeah, your kids, and it's weird, and I think Cole has had the same experience, but kids are picky for some, for probably a lot of reasons, but they're picky. But the one thing that our kids will just devour is elk steak. Just
crazy.
They go crazy over elk steak, and it's like
the best thing.
Why do they like this so much more than, not a nice cut of salmon, or even, it's just like they just love steak. Specific, and I mean, I'm sure they love beef steak too, but you bring down a big old piece of backstrap with your own hands from the mountain and cook it up and put it on your kid's little high chair, and they're just going at it. It's like, it's a really rewarding feeling to know what they're consuming and that it is healthy for them. There's just no question about it. Mm-hmm. And to feel the satisfaction of being the one that had put that on the table. Mm-hmm. It's different than making the money to go to Costco to get the steak. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing.
I don't care what anyone says. It will always forever be different. And I also think it taps into something way deep in our DNA that we don't even know is there.
Yeah.
So that we were talking about that deer tongue, but we were, enjoying it. I was up at his house when we cooked it up, and I brought one of my boys, and my boy and his daughter like grabbed that bowl off the counter, and there was no more tongue to be shared. They just devoured that. So
I cannot believe that.
You'll see it when you have kids. They're just you might see the difference between, crackers and whatever chucker. There's just something about it. They just love it. I guess the other thing I was going to say is I think it's interesting with upland dog hunting or hunting with a dog is I've gone pheasant, like on those pheasant farms, and a dog just kind of flushes them out, and then you just got to be ready to shoot. And then I've been with some folks waterfowl hunting where, the birds are moving and you shoot them and then they go in the water and the dog retrieves it. Mm-hmm. Both great, but it seems like the upland game with dogs is like...
That's top tier level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like they are very well disciplined and there's a lot of preparation that goes into getting a dog that way.
And they have to be. They definitely have to be. It's the world of a difference.
In bird hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring up dogs with, lions or bears. Like, that takes some skill. You've had some experience with that. But
yeah, those are their own animal. They have to have a good nose and be tough and determined, right? I don't know if it's the same level of discipline, because even the hunt that I've been on, the dogs were climbing up in the tree, in the top of the tree, like they were like the guys were like, my dog's gonna die right now. It won't listen to me. It just wants to go get that animal. And they're just
While
aggressive.
the lion was treed?
Oh
It's
yeah,
that drive
there's
in 'em.
dogs that are 25 feet up in the tree, and I'm like, I don't think you have the paws to stay on that
No,
branch.
they climb
man.
the tree. It's
And
nuts. I've seen it.
and the guys down at the bottom are kind of panicking a little bit, because if they don't, it could go bad, obviously.
Oh,
and,
dogs die all the time doing that.
and it's
fall out of the
and it's
tree.
impressive in its own right, but it's not the same level of discipline that it sounds like these upland game dogs have to have.
Yeah, it's almost like a form of art, almost that they learn, and that they do it. They look so angelic, just pointing, and
It's rugby versus
yeah,
tennis.
instead of just pure chaos. Go kill that thing, go
Yeah.
after, and don't
Yeah.
stop until it's dead. It's like, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna stop, point, and I'm not gonna move because they're gonna be scared.
That's cool.
And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Needless to say, I'm excited to do more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
that's
as well.
really good. And thank you for kind of showing us the ropes today. That was a cool experience, and hopefully we have some more of those. So yeah, we appreciate you letting us.
Hey, thanks for showing me the spot. Thanks for
Yeah.
willing to
That's fine with me.
explore. I guess we both, or all of us, kind of explored today and
Yeah.
went out on a whim.
Yeah, no, it was good. So the other thing about Kaden is, if you've been listening thus far and you've made it to this point, and you're like, okay, this guy likes to shoot tiny birds on the mountain, that is not the only thing that Kaden does.
That's the newest thing.
That's the newest thing. So if you don't mind, maybe just talk about how long you've been hunting, and then maybe your thoughts about hunting as far as like how you see it through your own eyes. And then if you want to give us some, we'll probably go into like, I kind of see it as probably the two highlights of your hunting career was your ram and then your bull this year. Would you agree?
I'd agree.
Those are two
Definitely.
pretty freaking big deals.
Yep, those
Yeah.
are my pride and joy
Yeah.
in the big game world.
Yeah. So take it away. You started hunting when?
So I've been hunting as far as I can remember, literally my whole life, born and raised hunting. My dad is a even crazier hunter than I am. He just lives and breathes for it. And so that's how I was raised. Everything that I've ever eaten really growing up was hauled off the mountain and killed by family members or by my dad. So it's just always been normal. And so I've literally been hunting my whole life and been actually the one with the gun in my hand as soon as I was legal to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's just a lot more than just going hunting for me and for my family. It's literally just our way of life, how we do things, and it's just always been the normal thing to do.
How old were you when you first got taken out there, even if you didn't have a tag in your pocket?
Oh man, well, based off a picture that I have, not memory, my dad hauled me out to the duck marsh when I was probably 2 years old.
Wow.
And sat me in the marsh with him while he was shooting ducks. And we have pictures of me and my twin brother just sitting there, freezing our butts off, but loving every minute of it. Look at this duck. And he throws it to us, in the sled. And we're sitting there just like, yeah, it's awesome. And so, yeah, and just lots and lots of memories of my dad. The biggest one is in his garage. Our whole life growing up, we've always had one of those, what do you call them, deer hooks or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
like the hook that you
Oh,
hang from the
gambrels.
ceiling, and you
Gambrels.
can hook the
Gambrel.
Yeah, I think
yeah
that's what it's
gambrel.
called.
I think it's called that, isn't it?
It's crazy that you know that word.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I know
You
you're talking
hook
about
the back legs on
yeah,
it
it's
and-
got the two. It's
a
got a
gambrel.
flat bar,
Yeah.
and then it's got the two little prongs.
Yep, that's
Okay.
exactly it. That's my biggest memory is like when it's hunting season, like I swear every other freaking week there's something hanging off that
Yeah.
thing, full body, and my dad's completely gutted it out. And
It was weird for that thing to be alone.
yeah, it was weird for that thing to be clean and not having anything on it. Like,
That's cool.
and he would always, a lot of the times he would process it himself too. So he had all the packaging and meat slicers. And so I have memories from when I was very young going out there and just watching them, carving meat off this deer or the elk hanging there and slicing up the meat and packaging it.
He's hanging elk on that thing too?
Oh, he hangs everything on there.
And do you remember as a kid seeing him, because I don't really remember understanding this part of the process, but as a kid seeing your dad, watching your dad process the food, do you remember seeing like, oh, that's what mom uses for spaghetti?
Oh yeah.
Like that's the meat that we're gonna eat.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool.
It just was normal. It was, hey, we're eating this tonight. Like mom's gonna go to the freezer and pull out the meat,
And
and
you're like, oh yeah, Dad, I helped you wrap that package up.
definitely.
That's super
I
cool.
like that.
Always asking questions. Is this the elk from so and so? Is this the deer from 2 weeks ago?
Your
or
kid
whatever?
does that, doesn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
Hudson. You met Hudson.
Oh yeah.
He's a funny kid.
He likes to know which animal it was.
Yeah, he's always saying, we'll be eating, he's stuffing his face. Who shot this? We're eating dino chicken nuggets. I'm like, I don't know who shot that thing. Or when it is, deer or elk, I can say, well, Daddy did.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel so good about being a provider that way. But yeah, I think it's cool too. Did you have that growing up? Or you kind of told me you had no idea how much game meat you ate growing up.
Well, my dad didn't, I don't think he processed most of it. I think he just paid a butcher in town to do it. And so I didn't see that part of the process. He still doesn't. I don't think he likes to do it. He's not
it
a
takes a
methodical.
lot of time.
That's not him. Let's get it done. And so
He's a straight killer too, by the way.
Yeah, my dad's a killer. We'll get him on here someday.
Yeah, I hope so.
But no, and then I tried a steak one time when I was like 15 on a cruise, and I'm like,
A beefsteak.
what is this?
Well, you're 15.
Yeah, and then I was just like, wait,
what animal was
I
this?
just realized, I'm like, all that meat I've eaten tastes a little funny, tastes a little different. That's game. I just had no idea. That's all I'd ever eaten. Yeah, and then I tried beef, and I'm like, well, first of all, it tastes a little bit better.
Beef
it
is
tastes a little
good.
bit better. But I was just shocked. I'm like, that meat that I've eaten my whole life wasn't a cow? I didn't even think about it. It was just meat.
Yeah.
And I think I probably missed out on appreciation I could have had for the outdoors or for my dad, just because I didn't know. But he's not the super son. I killed this for you. This just wasn't part of it. But yeah, that's something I will probably try and help my kids be part of the process. Help them have an appreciation for those horns that sit on the mantle. That's part of the same creature that is keeping us alive and that we had last night. So that's a cool thing that we get to experience as dads and as children.
Oh yeah, it's teaching a fisher to fish.
Yeah.
Rather than just giving them a fish.
Yeah, it starts way younger than the first time you can actually hunt. My same son, he reminds me every day, is this 4? I said, yep, that's 4. He says, when I'm 4, I'll get a gun. And I'm like, well, it's a toy gun. And so he's turning 4 next year. And I promised him I'd take him on a hunt. I don't expect anything.
No, let him take his gun out to the mountain and let him.
I hope I don't get anything, because then I got a little kid and a cow elk, and I'm like, what do I do now?
Double the pack out, yeah.
Anyway, okay, the next topic, I think, to get your perspective on. So I'm relatively new to hunting, within the last few years. Something I've noticed coming into it is that I don't know how to say this guy's last name, and he kind of made a funny thing on it on Instagram. Dylan Dietz, I guess, Deitz. But he made fun of oh, you shoot with a compound bow. Well, I shoot traditional trad bow. Oh, you shoot long range. That's unethical. And it seems like there's the hunting community,
It is divided.
which is not a lot of people percentage wise. It's very little, and how hunting works is we're basically providing for the sport through tags and everything that you're
Conservation
purchasing.
efforts, and we keep these animals alive and populated, the hunters themselves.
So you'd think we'd all be on the same team, but it's intra hunting, boom, butting heads all the time. Oh, you shot that from how far away? Oh my goodness, you're going to hell, you know?
That's a bad hunter right there. That's because you couldn't get close to it, huh?
Yeah. So, what do you think about hunting and maybe in that whole environment? What's your mindset?
Well, for me, it's always, I've never been the type of person to point my finger at someone and say, oh, you're unethical, you're this, you're that, you did it the wrong way. I think, um, I don't know, I have a more laid back view to hunting. If you have a tag for something, if you're hunting an animal, um, go get that animal, not by not by any means necessary. I don't want you to go out there with a machine gun and, unload
Yeah.
on like a herd of animals, but I have no problem with the long range game. If you have the equipment to do it, you're practiced in that, you have a gun that can do it and a round that will for sure put the animal out of its misery. Um, do it. If you're a guy that hasn't shot a rifle in 20 years and you go buy a $10,000 sniper, and I'm gonna try to get a cow elk at 1,000 yards this year. Probably not the best idea because you're probably gonna blow a leg off it and it's gonna run off and all hell's gonna break loose.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it depends on each hunters as individuals, on what you're comfortable with, what gear you have, what setup you have, and what you can ethically kill that animal. Um, in that way, you need to be able to know that as a hunter, as an individual, you should know where your limit is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a set line. This is how it should be. You either follow it or not. I think it's based upon hunters as individuals.
Yeah. The rules and regulations should be followed by the entire body, but as far as the limitations and the practice, that's individual.
Absolutely.
And how you do so is individual. So if you like to hunt, you like to hunt, and everyone should just mind their own business.
Everyone should mind their own business. And if you have a different way you like hunting, I'd love to hear it. I'm an open ear. Let's go try your way, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
And whatever one works better, let's do that way. And a lot of it depends on area and unit too. Like if you're up hunting, like you in the mountains and you're in the thickets, and you're probably not going to have much like long range opportunities at animals, or what people may call unethical opportunities at animals. You're going to be close. But we've done a lot of elk hunting in Arizona, and let me tell you something about Arizona. You're spotting elk at 1,000 yards away, and that's just how it is out there. It's very challenging from my experience to get close to those animals. And so sometimes your only opportunity is going to be, between 800 and 1,000 yard shot on top of a cliff, because it's just flat out there. The only cliff in the valley, that's probably going to be your only opportunity because you just can't see them. It's so thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as it's within the laws that we've agreed upon, then yeah, harvest that elk.
Yeah.
And as long as you feel like you aren't doing the animal a disservice by being unprepared to use that type of a weapon, I think that's totally cool.
Yeah.
But you're right. That kind of comes down to if you can reflect enough and say, I'm not being irresponsible by shooting 1,200 yards at this cow elk. It's like, what are you doing, man? It's a cow elk.
It's cow elk.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we've seen that. We know people who've done that, and it's kind of sad to see outcomes of wounded animals for kind of reckless behavior. But I mean, if you're willing to put in the time and hone your craft, then there's no problem with that. I keep looking at these two creatures, and want to get to the story of when you killed your bighorn. How old were you? And you killed it in Utah, I'm guessing?
Yep. So that was
Rocky Mountain Bighorn?
Rocky Mountain Bighorn. And that was on the Newfoundland Mountains here in Utah. And I got him when I was 16, 17. Got him in 2016. So
16, 17 years old. You had 2 points?
I had 3 points.
3 points?
Luck tag completely.
What were the odds? Didn't
It
you
was,
say?
yeah, we looked up the odds. I don't remember the number exactly, but it was like 0.00003% chance
Yeah.
of, whatever. And I remember day one, once I could start putting in for hunts, my dad sat me down and said, you need to decide on your once in a lifetime animal, but whatever you choose, you're going to stick with it until you draw it. Cause Utah, that's just how it works here. You gotta,
Yeah.
it's a big waiting game
A lot
for
of people
those
choose
animals.
wrong too.
Yeah.
A lot of people chose moose.
And
And moose is, we're learning that moose is not a good thing to have chosen.
yeah. And one of the few animals that he said, I highly, highly discourage you putting in for this are any of the bighorns, because you're never going to get it, or it's going to take 30 years to draw. And I was like, I don't care, Dad, I want a bighorn. And he's like, I don't think you should. I'm like, I want a bighorn. And if I put in for it and if I don't get it, then at least I know I
Oh,
tried.
wow. Yeah.
I don't care. So he's like, okay. And then, yep, 3 years later, the email pops up, or actually the card transaction happened first. And my dad was like, what the heck? Like this
Did
weird,
he have a heart attack? Because that
he wasn't
cost
sure.
was probably not
And
Yeah.
he
cheap.
probably thought it could have been himself, right?
Well, he did, but then he's crazy with the research and the knowledge on like how much all the tags cost and stuff. And he was like, the only tag that could be is a once in a lifetime. And he's like, there's no way. And then sure enough, the email came in saying I was successful, and we lost our crap that day. And I remember I was sitting in school and I just zoned out that whole day of school. I just was on cloud nine, couldn't believe
I would have dropped out the whole year.
that I had got the bighorn tag.
That's amazing.
And so we went out and when you get out to the Newfoundland mountains, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that area. It's unreal. It is a isolated mountain range surrounded by miles of salt flats. So it's just a random mountain range in the middle of nowhere. And when you get up on top of those,
Western Utah?
it's western Utah.
Okay.
Like you go out towards Grantsville, and
Okay.
it's like 4 hours northwest, kind of.
Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
So yeah, you get up on top of the mountains up there, and it's just crazy views, just pure salt flat, just gorgeous view. You take this railroad, gravel road out there for hours, and it's in the middle of nowhere where these animals are, and it's a very beautiful place. But yeah, we did lots of scouting trips out there. Of course, I'd never hunted bighorns in my life, so it took a while for me to understand the scoring system with them and how to judge them on the hoof to figure out what a good ram is. And that was a whole learning curve, and there's definitely no shortage of rams. There were a lot of sheep, a lot of rams.
But don't let that fool you, because it makes it sound like it's easy to get them.
Yeah, definitely not easy to get.
Anywhere here in America, well, anywhere, you're either paying a lot of money. We're talking what, tens of thousands of dollars to get a tag,
A lot of money.
or you're just extremely lucky. You could be putting in for what? Your whole entire
for a
lifetime,
lifetime.
and have a measly little percent chance to get it still after, 40 years or something in all the states.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
it's a big deal. And at that age, I didn't really understand how big of a deal it was. So I had to kind of get taught by my dad and had him sit down and say, listen, son, like, because I was like, I told you, Dad, like that was easy.
And he's
It
like,
was pure
don't
luck. And
F
he's
it up.
like, this is a big deal, son.
Yeah.
This is the only time in your life that you will shoot this animal, most likely,
Yeah.
for sure, here in Utah. So you need to, we're going to
Legally.
scout hard. Yeah, legally. We're going to scout hard. We're going to work our butts off, and we're going to make sure we get us a trophy ram.
Yeah.
And
You got him.
that's what we did. Yeah.
Right there.
Cool. Yeah, we'll make sure and show a picture, or if you have any pictures when you were young, we'll try and show images. of
Yeah.
that.
We have it on video too. The shot and everything. It was
nice.
500-yard shot with my.
That's
Like-
unethical, dude.
Like,
I'm just kidding.
oh, shut up.
I'm kidding.
It was like a 500-yard shot and one shot.
What caliber did you go with? The big dogs?
270.
270. Okay.
270. He was bedded down. We watched him, got on him. I got proned out, completely steady. And right when I was about to shoot, he actually laid down. So then we took even more time, made sure my elbow had support and brace, and we just took all the time in the world. I had nerves, but I had a lot of time. Like, don't let me fool you.
Well, my heart just dropped when you said you're about to shoot and then it bedded down.
Yeah, it bedded down. Like we were getting ready to, because it was approaching to go over the mountain. So my dad's like, get ready, we might have a quick shot. Like, but nope, he bedded down. So we sat back, took a breather, and like got totally steady, set up, and waited for the wind to kind of the wind would turn off and on. So we waited for a window where it came off, and Dad got the spotter on him with the camera and got it on video. It was awesome.
Vapor trail and everything?
Vapor trail, one shot right in the money pocket, and he didn't even stand up. He just laid his head down and was gone.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's crazy.
That's it.
Okay, so if you don't mind, tell us about that big bull. I just wanted to show it for the camera. Tell us about your experience hunting that guy.
So I got him actually this last hunting season, so 2023. And it's probably my most cherished. It might sound crazy and ungrateful, but I think I cherish that bull more than the bighorn.
It's a big bull. It's huge. The mass is huge.
And growing up watching my dad kill and bring home so many bulls, I don't know, I'm for sure an elk guy. Out of all big game, I prefer hunting elk than anything else. Just the way they respond to calls and the way to go about hunting them, it's just has been a lifelong goal for me to get a nice trophy bull elk. And so it was a pretty special moment for me and my dad to be there and be able to get him. But yeah, that was a Boulder Mountain late hunt in 2023. And it was the most stressed I've probably ever been in my life, because now I'm old enough to understand like how Utah works. And I consider that a once in a lifetime tag and once in a lifetime opportunity to kill a trophy bull elk. And so we did our scouting. We went out on...
How many days scouting did you do?
We actually only went out on 2 separate occasions, maybe a total of 4 days scouting.
But you saw what you needed to see.
Yeah. First scouting trip was we went super early to just get a look at, we're going just to scout early landscape, like
summer,
opposed to animals. Yeah. And we just went and we're looking at vantage points on where we could potentially set up to glass to find elk on the hunt. And that was just basically our landscape scouting trip to go figure out the land and the roads, everything, access. And so we really only had one outing where we went for 2 days and scouted can't remember, a week or 2 before the hunt. We went and definitely saw what we needed to see.
Yeah.
From our areas that we had scouted up on where we wanted to find some elk. We saw right at dark, actually on our last day there, we saw a ginormous bull, easily 370. I got pictures we can show, but easily 370 bull, all alone in the area that we wanted to hunt. And so we knew that we had chosen a right spot to hunt and to try to harvest one. And so, yeah, that's where we decided to hunt.
And then fast forward to the hunt.
Fast forward.
A week later.
Yeah,
How many days?
So it was a total of, I believe, 4 days.
Okay.
Hunting. Got him on the 4th day.
Is that the first day you had seen him in particular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never seen him before.
Nice.
You didn't see him scouting. That wasn't the big bull you saw.
Nope. We'd never seen him before until we shot him. But I don't know, to kind of to kind of sum up the hunt, first day, well, let me back up a little bit. Day before the opener, I went down and scouted with my wife, and we ended up finding two really good bulls. One of them that I knew I for sure was fit the bill that I wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
And it was in a far off area from where I had previously scouted, where I saw like that 370 bull, and decided to pursue him the first day. And so we went and pursued him, ended up finding him at 400 yards. But I had just hiked in the morning of the hunt where I saw him the night before, and I had some friends and family that were up on this cliff that I gave him a pin on where to go to let me know if he was still in the area. And so I got down into the area of where the bull was, and just so happened that the cliff that I gave him a pin to, when they popped out and over it, he was 400 yards from that cliff of where they popped up and over to look down 1,000 yards where that bull was the night before. And so, of course, that bull saw him and ran out and was gone forever, and never saw him again.
Yeah.
So that was our first big bull that blew out.
After that, did you think?
After that, I was upset, but I was like, it's hunting.
Still
We still
fun.
have, it's just the first day, like whatever. I knew there's a lot of elk. We'd seen a lot of elk, so I was upset because he was super unique, just not a standard looking bull, but it's hunting. Welcome to hunting. And so you fast forward time to the second day and third day, and it just was not going well for us. We were consistently finding big shooter bulls, but our stalks were just not working out. They would wind us. We would hike super far and get to them, and the wind would switch, or we'd spook them, or we'd lose sight of them, and it just, nothing was working out. And so after like we had blown 4 big 360 plus bull stalks, I was just like, holy crap, this is not working in my favor. How many massive elk do we need to find and screw up before we actually can get one? And so I was just really down in the dumps, especially because we saw a monster bull, the biggest elk I've ever seen in my life by far. And we had him at 250 yards when my dad had spotted him, and he's like, we're going to kill this bull right now. Like, he's at 250 yards. Biggest bull he's ever seen in his life too. He's like, can't believe it. He has no idea we're here. Let's go get him. And so we come up and over we were on the backside of the mountain from where he was. And so we come up and over, and the plan was to go up and over, set up the shooting sticks, and get on him and shoot him at 250 yards. But in that time, my dad hiked back to me to inform me that the bull was right there. The bull had bedded down and faced our direction. So as soon as we popped up and over the hill,
He's just sitting
he
there
was
watching.
sitting there facing us, stood up, took off, and I took a shot at him at 600 yards as he was running, and kind of slowed down almost to a stop at 600 yards. I took a shot and missed him. And yeah, he ran off and never saw him again.
How big was this bull, do you think? And do you have any video
Pushing
of him?
4.
He's around 4
Yeah,
bills.
pushing 400.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a big deal.
Biggest, yeah. And so after that,
That's just another kick right in the gut.
That was biggest kick to the nuts
You're
I've ever
almost
had
ready
in
to
my
quit,
life.
probably. You're like, maybe I don't
I
even want to
was.
hunt.
Like, I had to set the rifle down, and my dad and I just sat there in pure silence for like 5-10 minutes, didn't say a word. And then my dad just looks at me, and he's just like, son, I am so sorry. And I just was down in the dumps, and I was like, I think I need to go home, and I need to take a few day break, because that was the 4th monster bull that we had blown in those few days. And I was like, I need to go home and take a few days off this hunt and just like rest, because I was just like, holy cow, man, like I cannot. Yeah, I just was
in retrospect,
done.
you can't imagine yourself ever doing that. Like
Yeah.
now, sitting on the couch, you're like, I would never give up.
Yeah.
I would never
No.
say I need a break.
It's-
But when you're in the moment, you're like, I never want to hunt again.
And I'm ashamed to say it, but I looked my dad dead in the eyes and I said, I wish I didn't have this tag.
Yeah.
Like, it was
It's
at that
painful,
level
isn't
of,
it?
pain. I was like, I wish I didn't have this tag. Like, I'm stressed and
not
I
just
so
that tag.
badly want to be successful. And it's just, you know,
But you were hiking all over the place.
yeah, we had put, I mean, miles and miles and miles, like long hikes, long stalks, being super quiet and
Yeah.
just, I mean, just brutal. Drains you.
Yeah, but the physical is nothing. I've been there.
Yeah.
The physical is nothing like the emotional
No,
pain.
I was
of
mentally
just
done. I was just
getting beat over and
pissed off.
over.
And yeah, we were only a couple days in, but the amount of opportunities and like crazy luck we were having, I was just like, dude, like, I don't know if it's going to happen. You know, it's hard to believe it in
Can't
that
get any better
moment.
than this.
I just had probably had the only chance at, you know, a 400-inch bull that I'll probably ever have in my life. And he was at 250 yards and we couldn't make it happen. And we're like, we've hunted our whole lives. This is what we do. This is what we train for. This is what we work for. And we failed in the opportunity that it was presented.
So were you kind of thinking, besides taking a break, were you like, oh, I might have to settle for a smaller bull?
Yeah. I had all those
Lowered your
thoughts
expectations?
going through my mind. Had all those thoughts. I might need to settle for less because it's just not happening. But of course, dads do what they do, and he pumps some encouragement into me. And he's like, listen, like, we saw the direction the bull went. We're going to go freaking find him and we're going to go kill him tonight. Like, we're going to go do that. And him saying that, I was just like, I don't know if I believe you, but let's give it one more day. And I told him, after today, if it doesn't happen, I need to go home for a few days because I'm mentally done. Like, just, I don't know. Call me a wuss, but I was done.
Right. And a lot of people in your group went home that day.
Yep.
As well. So you were kind of, in a war zone mentally. And then you've got, your wife's going home.
All those extra eyes. Our group that had come. Yeah. Our group that had come to help be our eyes in the sky, gone. Like, everyone's now gone. And so even that, and my dad even told me, he's like, I got a business to run. I got to go back to work. Like, my dad's like, this is my last day with you. And then I have to go back. And so I was just like,
mental pressure is
I
probably
was just
so
like,
much.
holy hell, like, everything's going wrong. And now everyone's leaving pretty soon. I'm going to just be up here on my own dime with my own eyes. And, it's that much harder because you can't.
And these are big animals.
And so actually that same day we saw the big bull run off right before our eyes. We decided to pursue him because we still had our evening hunt. So we went to that area where we had seen the big boy run off to. And yeah, that's where we ended up finding the bull that I shot. We never saw the big boy again, but like it, coming up on dark, mine decided to step out of the woodwork and we were able to spot him and shot him at 550 yards and couldn't believe it.
One shot down?
Yeah, one shot down.
Wow.
One shot down, and we'd just seen his back end on his antlers, and I just asked my dad, I was just like, what do you think? I'm thinking he looks good. Like, he looks like a nice mature bull. I'm thinking he's, 340 plus. We're just judging him on the hoof. And my dad's like, yeah, I would definitely say he's 340 plus. I'm thinking bigger, but like, just know 340 is probably our bottom line right now. And I was like, all right, I'm sending one. And so I just had an opening of his vitals through the tree that I had to wait for a few minutes for him to step. And I couldn't see his head at all. I just literally saw a circle in the trees of his vitals and lasered one in there at him at 550 and dropped him.
Nice. You saw him go right down?
Saw him go right down. It was a higher shot. So we think it might have, just the way the angle was, kind of spine shot him up and dropped him like instantly. And so, yeah.
Which isn't a bad shot to take.
No, it was the only shot we had anyway. And after all that, I was like, that's going.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was super crazy. Couldn't believe it. And I was super happy because I knew he was a mature bull. Wasn't the biggest that we saw, but.
Well, then you walked up to him.
Yeah, then it was a super thick area. And so I left my dad up on the cliff that I shot him from, and I just gave my dad my orange hat, and I said, "You hold it to the right. If I need to go right, left, back, forward, just hold my hat whatever direction I need to go, because I know I'm going to get lost when I go down there." So I go down there. He leads me to him, and yeah, I walk up on the bull and instantly knew he was a lot bigger than 340. And
Nice.
holy crap!
And you guys ultimately scored him at?
He was 360 bull.
Is he
Just over 360.
And he's broken on his royal? Or?
367 is the score. Sorry, I had a brain fart right there.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Massive.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we'll show pictures of him, and if you have any video from the hunt, we will have probably already showed it when we put this together for YouTube.
Yeah.
But that's really cool, man. Really exciting, amazing bull, and Cole and I we'll get our chance someday.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll just live vicariously through you.
Yeah.
And when you get your chance, it's hard to say, but don't give up.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
I was on the breaking point and
Well, if I can
got lucky.
briefly say, people are, they say trophy hunting and it's negative, there's a negative connotation to it. And you bring the meat home, you eat that as a family, but you have this on the wall for way longer than that meat lasts.
All the memories that come with it.
And what does that bull mean to you? Like, from what you said,
Yeah, it's
the battle.
It's like a tier, it's like a tier below, like a sacred level for me anyways. It's just they're really special animals. I always tell everyone, no one cares more about animals than hunters. No one knows more about animals than hunters, because we really do care about these animals that we have the opportunity to harvest.
Yeah, you put yourself through it to get it done. Good job, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's cool. Well, should I quickly, I think we should save the more detailed version of this shout out for a future episode.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do our shameless shout out for, I mentioned my brother-in-law earlier, who does upland game hunting himself and who I've been invited to go with, but I just haven't taken him up on it. But this is the same brother that started Mountain Bonded, the company that helps us produce this podcast, and it's really great. I think the essence of Mountain Bonded is helping people come together within nature and around nature and develop meaningful relationships in this life, both with themselves and nature. And obviously that's the only reason why Cole and I are here today. That's why you guys have met, just because nature seems to bring out the best in people, and it really gives a lot of meaning to your life. And I think for a lot of us who are wired to kind of get outside and get some space and breathe fresh air, that's where we feel like real healthy relationships develop and flourish. And I think that's what Mountain Bonded is kind of supposed to be. So it's going to be currently they make gear, and they are, I think, releasing a new version of a really sweet teepee tent, a 6-manner. They have a 4-manner, and yeah, I used them all last season on my hunts, and the tent was awesome. It has this really cool tub in the bottom that keeps debris out, and
It's like camping gear.
yeah, camping gear and some apparel. I think Cole has a Mountain Bonded hat in, and my T-shirt is, well, maybe, but yeah. So we'll talk more about them in future episodes, but go check them out online.
The features, I was kind of comparing the tents and the features, the things that they provide for the price. Like, they're throwing a lot of stuff in there for the price when you compare it to other people. So they make great products, and it's hard to say, but silly to say, but the T-shirts, like a recent shirt and the hats, like I love the hats. The shirts are so freaking comfortable.
Yeah,
They're so nice, and they're cool. They're real cool.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to rep them, and we're thankful for them. Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
And I think the last thing we wanted to do was just hear in just a couple of minutes what your experience has been guiding elk, and give us a perspective on hunting, what hunters behave like, what expectations you have for a hunter who hires a guide, contracts a guide, anything that comes to mind that you think would be useful for us to learn, because I've never actually worked with an elk guide. I've gone hunting with people who guide, but I haven't been with one like contracted. So tell us, have you enjoyed that? Where do you do it? And maybe a couple of things that you could tell us, say, hey, if you do hire a guide, here's things that you can do to get the most out of your experience, to earn the guide's respect and trust and things like that. But so if you want to start, how long, where, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I am a hunting guide for Bucks and Bulls Outfitters.
Part-time. You have
Part-time.
another job. You do
Yes,
this
that is not
part-time.
my full-time job.
Yeah.
That is just a part-time hunting season deal that I go up when they need me and have hunts scheduled, and we'll take guys up for, you know, elk, deer, turkey, those types of animals. And it's I guide on the Houston East unit, which is actually where the copper mine is here in Utah, Kennecott Copper Mine. And I've been doing that for about 4 years now, and I love it. Super, super fun. It's definitely brought a lot more love to the game of hunting than I thought it would, because you get to see a lot of people take, you know, their first animals or their first animal in a long time, because we guide both contracted guys who are paying money to go hunt these animals, and we also guide public land guys who draw the public tags that are in the system. So kind of get a taste of both types of hunters, because there's definitely a difference.
And it's Bucks and Bulls Outfitters.
Yep.
And you guide for bucks and bulls, buck
Yep,
and
for
mule
Bucks
deer.
and Bulls, but that's the
That's
company
it.
name, Bucks
Okay.
and Bulls Outfitters.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and if you want to earn, and find yourself on a guided hunt, if you want to earn a guide's respect or something, I would say have a brain and know that you're still hunting, and help out with the hunt. It's no fun when you get someone who comes in and just reclines the seat in the truck, and they're like, all right, let me know when you find a good one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no, help glass, be involved with the hunt, ask him what he's seeing, what areas he's seeing them in, what you can do to help.
Because what does that do for you as a guide when someone shows up like that?
It shows me that they care. It shows me that they're.
It probably motivates you
Oh,
too,
yeah,
to
that
like,
motivates
okay,
me.
I'm gonna, let's get one.
If
Let's
it's
go over
just
that
some
hill.
guy that's like, let me know, then you almost, I'd never do this, but you almost like want to find one and not tell them it's there, because you're like, if you're not going to help me, then why would I
Yeah,
reward
you're just
you
not
with
nearly
a-
as motivated.
Why'd I reward you with a good animal? But that's not how it is. We always call out what we see and help them do our best. But
Yeah.
it makes it more fun for everyone when everyone's involved in the hunt.
Yeah.
And if and when you get an animal down, help pack it out, and not just pack it out, but help process it. It's not always required, but I guess it makes our lives easier. Definitely not required though. Yeah, I'd say if you do those things and you have their respect, and it just makes it more fun for everyone. You should view it as hunting with a friend and not hunting with,
Yeah.
you know, a guide. Is how I would say it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the bucks there are huge.
Yeah,
Which
bucks
gets
are
me going.
massive. That's what that's the most popular thing there for sure.
Yeah.
The mule deer.
And the bulls are huge, but
The bulls are nice. They're not huge bulls. They're
nice.
we kill them at 300-inch bull. That's what we tell them, is we try to hit that number
Okay.
with our bulls. But,
I'd say that's pretty nice.
but yeah, we kill lots of really big deer up there every year.
Big, like 200 plus.
Yeah,
Yeah, big boys.
Cool.
That gets me going.
big deer.
I like that.
And the turkey hunts are just mainly for fun. Just go call those in and chase them around. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, I guess we'll do maybe just last call and send her home. Do you have anything last call you wanted to bring up?
No, thanks for letting me be a part of today's chucker hunt. That is, I hope that I don't, I hope that I kind of forget how exciting it was, because I have enough hobbies as is. I don't need to be an upland game hunter too. But it really did open my eyes. I just always kind of thought, birds, ducks,
They're there.
they're there. But I see the passion some people have, and I'm like, okay, it makes sense now. It's not, they're not all delusional. That's some fun stuff, and it's an art form. It's a challenge, just like any other style of hunting. So I was happy to be able to experience that. So thanks to both of you guys for helping me be here.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming down. So we do like a last call, meaning if there was something you wanted to say during the podcast or whatever, here's your chance to say it before we sign off. Did you have anything?
Same thing. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to see where it goes and hopefully be on a few more. And
Yeah, for sure.
let's go on a lot more hunts together, please. Need more buddies, so let's go.
Yeah, I like that. That goes along with me. I'm really excited for upland game. Never done it, so I'm excited for the opportunity to keep doing that. If that offer is open.
Definitely open.
Okay.
Always open.
To put you on the spot.
Cole's going to have a dog by the end of the week.
I'm going to get my bulldog up on the mountain. He'll die before he can get down.
Let's get him pointing.
But I would say, look forward to having you on the podcast again. I know we've got, there's been some murmurings about some over-the-counter elk hunts, archery elk. I think we're going to get it done this fall, so I'm excited. But
Let's get after it.
all right, well.
Okay, well, that's it. Until next time. Don't you have like a saying that you're supposed to do now?
Nope.
Adios.
Adios, muchachos.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Muchachos.
Thanks, Kaden.